Have you ever felt guilty for being grateful? Like pausing to appreciate what you have means you're going to lose your fire? Or do you feel guilty because you don't think your accomplishments are worthy of your gratitude? And gratitude is a remarkable skill, but for some people, it can be difficult. One fear is gratitude equals complacency. If I pause, I'll fall behind. Another fear is it's undeserved. I haven't done enough to earn the right to feel grateful or to employ gratitude. And we often confuse gratitude with complacency, thinking if we're thankful for today, we won't push for tomorrow. Part of the issue is the human tendency toward the negativity bias. The negativity bias is the human brain's wire towards danger and fear and problems. And in the modern contemporary world, we don't really face as much danger, but our brain still looks for it. It finds negativity, it finds gossip, it finds first world problems. And that ends up creating this barrier because even though it's minimal as far as actual danger, our brain still wants to register it as danger and fear. Now we combine that with this hedonic treadmill where we want to chase more. We don't want to settle. You also throw in things like the imposter syndrome or imposter phenomenon, where gratitude feels like highlighting accomplishments you don't believe you deserve. And the performance culture rewards dissatisfaction more than appreciation. You could add layers on top of this to complicate the issue with unresolved conflict from childhood experiences. And this is where some people are pretty harsh of, that idea of don't jump back into your childhood. That's unnecessary. We're talking about, you're weak because you can't overcome your past, but we have to acknowledge the reality of what we bring into our adulthood from unresolved childhood. It has to be acknowledged. So I'll use myself as an example. I always do. I don't mind. I was raised in a high conflict home. There was a lot of verbal and physical fighting. There were very few good role models. There was an excess of poor role models. The people who should have cared about me the most were the most harsh. I was raised with plenty of opportunity, but I was raised with more harsh criticism than loving encouragement. And it's something that I've carried with me for a long time. I've tried to let it go, but I carry a lot of unnecessary self-doubt and self-criticism. That is the reality. It's acknowledged, and I know I need to do something about it. And up until this point, I have, and I continue to do. And it'll probably be a lifelong struggle that I have. I'm not going to say that I'm going to carry it forever. I'm just saying that it's going to be something I struggle with. It is something I currently struggle with. And until I can overcome and move on, I'm not going to sweep it under the rug. I'm not going to ignore it because it won't go away if I do that. And part of what I've tried to do is to reframe gratitude as fuel for resilience and performance, not a threat to my drive. It is a necessary skill. And yes, I look at gratitude as a mental and a performance skill because it's something you have to learn and then you have to implement, and you only get better over time. If you don't use it, you won't get better. Simply acknowledging that gratitude is a skill and understanding that it's beneficial, and I'm going to explain some of the benefits. Understanding the skill does not give you the skill. No different than if I threw you a basketball and you don't play basketball and you don't know how to dribble a ball, shoot, pass, all those things, you're not going to be good at the game. If you want to get better at the skill, you have to learn, develop, practice, implement, and then relearn over and over as you get better. If you don't, you'll never get good at it, and you're going to struggle with that side of the appreciation for things in your life. because that's exactly what gratitude is. Gratitude is appreciation for the things, the experiences, the people, the opportunity. Gratitude is appreciation. Now, on the other side of that is complacency, comfort in what you have without striving for more. And there's a difference between complacency and content. I don't think content is a bad thing. I think complacency is. It's that being content is the sitting in things that you have and in the enjoyment of where you are in your life. That doesn't mean that you're not striving. That's the balance part of striving, is being content and enjoying, showing appreciation for what you have. And I think some people might be saying, well, you're basically saying the same thing. No, I'm not. Complacent is comfortable and not striving. Content is comfortable with allowance for room for the striving part. And people who are wired for performance might blur. That's where the blur comes in. People are like, no, you got to push that aside. You can't be complacent. You can't be content. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep pushing. And they're afraid that appreciation equals settling and falling into that trap of not wanting to push for more. But that's wrong. There's been tons of research on gratitude. It shows gratitude practice, a regularly practiced gratitude, whether it be journaling or talking with a friend or just sitting and talking to yourself. There's a lot of different ways that you can do gratitude. We'll get into that. But it's shown, the studies have shown that gratitude reduces burnout, it increases mental well-being, and strengthens your motivation. It broadens your perspective, lowers your stress response, improves persistence and long-term goals. Those are all solid things that you should want if you're a person that's trying to balance ambition and peace. Gratitude does not kill ambition. It sharpens it. We have to start by separating gratitude from complacency and position gratitude as stability, not stagnation. Stability. We have to have a firm foundation. This is where I am. This is who I am. This is what I've done, right? All those things about the current foundation of where you are. And that's going to allow you to push harder for what you're trying to accomplish. But there has to be this firm foundation. And gratitude is one of those things that's going to help you get that foundation so that you can continue to push. The science is all over the place. A gratitude practice will actively engages the brain regions linked to dopamine and serotonin release. And you don't even have to understand completely what that means, but just understand that the good feeling chemicals in your body, the rest and recovery chemicals in your body, the activation chemicals in your body, it improves your mood. It helps you regulate your mood and improves your ability to engage motivation for the things that you want to accomplish. Grateful people show stronger areas of the brain that are key for decision making and goal pursuit, because you're not getting caught up in the emotional reaction. You're logically thinking through, this is what I want to accomplish. This is what I need to make happen in order to get to where I want to go. Cortisol is the stress chemical that's released in your body as the fight or flight response and the stress response. It reduces your cortisol levels, which reduces your chronic stress load so you can rest and recover, as we discussed in the last episode. It increases your ability to engage relaxation and recovery. And when you do try to strive for the things, whether it's fitness or your career, you're able to pursue those things with a lot more intention and without the stress response that goes along with it. When we talk about gratitude reflection, we're talking about is talking with other people, doing self-reflection, even if it's just thoughts, But the most powerful has been shown to be journaling. You're writing down things that you're thankful for. Physically write those things down in a notebook. At the end of the day, or even at the beginning of the day, this is where I started the gratitude practice in the mornings, because I wanted the kick. I wanted the dopamine hit that was going to start my day. And so when I got to work, I would start journaling of, in the last 24 hours, what are some of the things that I really appreciate? And that's the power and the gratitude practices. It needs to be recent, not last week, not last month, last year, but within the last 24 hours. I want you to stop for just a moment and think, from the last 24 hours, what is 1, 2, or 3 good things from the last 24 hours? Things you appreciate. They could be massive, amazing things, or more likely, they're going to be little things. Oh, I appreciated that person paused and held the door for me. That is something to reflect on. And in fact, a lot of times, the smaller the thing appears to be, the better it is for your gratitude reflective practice. It gets you focused on good things. Don't have to be big things. Good things can be a series of small things that over the course of a day become this trail of proof that you need to show that you had a good day. That's a good place to start. So think about 3 things you're grateful for, big or small. And then you reflect on those things. Why does it matter? How does it connect to your bigger purpose? How does it connect to your goals? Why was it so impactful for you? Why did you think about that one thing? What was the situation? Relive that environment. Where were you? Who was involved? What were the people? Did you know them or did you not know them? And then why did it make you feel so good? Tie it into your emotions so that not only are you thinking about it, but you're reliving, why is that such a good thing? And it's the opposite of rumination and spinning on all these, the anxiety and the negativity. It's the opposite of that. If you can ruminate on bad things, you can also ruminate on good things, and you can relive the good things that you appreciate happening in your life, and that is going to lead to that emphasis on good things. And it doesn't mean that negative and danger doesn't matter. You still need to be aware of those things. The important things to understand is that you're not letting it capture the majority of your attention. We run on approximately an 80-20 attention. It means that's why multitasking doesn't work. You can't do 50-50. Your brain doesn't work that way. If you're constantly task switching, you're probably going to have reduced mental abilities. And if you try to give this thing part of your attention, this thing part of your attention, this thing part of your attention, you're probably not really giving any of those things the amount of attention it deserves. So you're better off pausing and focusing on one thing. You give it 80% of your attention. Understand that there's 20% still out there. Yes, I need to be aware of danger, right? If I don't look left and right before I cross the street, I might get hit by a car. Got it. But that's not going to draw my attention. I'm not going to be fearful of getting hit by a car when that only deserves 20% of my attention. It's going to take away the 80% of, taking a walk with my wife or my kids. So we can't allow all the danger and the negativity and the bias and all these things that we bring into our attention to control us. We need to be aware of those things, but you put those to the side and you give it a small percentage of your attention. And the more you can focus your attention on the good things in your life, the more not only you're going to appreciate these things, but you are going to, instead of every day looking back for the last 24 hours, you're going to eventually train your brain so that as you go throughout your day, you're going to be actively observing these things and the good things, the enjoyment, the joy of where you are, the activity and the presence necessary to be in the moment. People are always talking about presence and mindfulness. The gratitude is going to pull your attention to that present moment so you're able to better enjoy the moment. You're training your brain to focus and find those things to be appreciative of. And so, when you think about a good thing, I think of, I'm grateful for my team. We're getting ready to start our preseason camp for GCU rugby here in Phoenix. if I go to preseason camp and I have a good day and at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, I'm grateful for my team. That's not very powerful and that's not very deep. But instead, I might say something like, I'm grateful for my team because of their commitment. Their commitment reminds me leadership isn't about me. It's about what we build together that keeps me striving forward. That is a much deeper meaning. And I'm now emotionally connected to this idea of I want these things and there's other people involved and they're doing things that I appreciate. And I'm focused on things that I'm doing that's getting me closer to the kind of person I want to be, the goals that I want to achieve, who else is involved. Everything is being drawn to the present moment or something that recently happened. And I'm training my brain out of that negativity bias. And I'm not quite so concerned about everything that could go wrong. And therefore, I am more likely to be passionate and motivated and inspired to continually drive to my goals and the person I want to continually become throughout my lifespan, because I'm now appreciative of everything that I've done before. I'm taking the pressure off of myself of all the things that went wrong in the past or all the things I could have done that I can't do anything about anymore. And I'm bringing myself back to the present moment so now I can do something about it. And we talk about rest and recovery science, that the mental recovery is just as critical, if not more important than the physical recovery. And the downtime improves not only your muscle repair, but your brain function, and gratitude is part of that. And so it's really important that you're highly engaged in this ability to pause and reflect and sit in things that are very, very meaningful to you. It's going to help you relax as the day goes along. If you do this in the evening, you're going to feel more relaxed. Your sleep is going to be better. It's going to come more naturally. It's going to be deeper and more meaningful and more relevant. So the rest and recovery is actually going to provide you rest and recovery. Gratitude really provides that space for rest because it allows you to appreciate your progress rather than always living in a deficit. You can't live in a deficit. I got it. There's better things you could have done. There's behaviors you could have done. All that stuff in the past is a lesson. It's got you to where you are. It has either helped you or it's provided a lesson for you. And this idea of gratitude and rest and relaxation and pausing becomes part of your intentional recovery. It's not lazy. It is necessary. Gratitude and recovery fuels sustainable drive, while complacency drains it. And complacency includes the continuous drive without rest, without recovery. So all these things are absolutely necessary for you to continue to strive while you're balancing your peace. And it's going to help you so you don't burn out. It's going to help you so that you are more, you are able to engage more self-compassion about what you've experienced up until this point, especially when it comes to those things you can't control. So I encourage you to try the journaling practice. 3 good things every day, 3 good things from the past 24 hours. And really sit in those things and give yourself an opportunity. Write them down or just speak them in your head, or better yet, share them with somebody else, because somebody else gets to enjoy your gratitude as well, especially if it involves them. And notice how your mindset will shift from fear of losing your edge toward building stability for growth. And remember, gratitude isn't about settling. It's about strengthening. Finally, I want you to remember that ambition isn't the enemy of peace, and peace doesn't mean standing still. I hope you stay grounded, and I hope you stay unsettled. My name is Neil. Follow me at Life of Neil. I'm on TikTok and YouTube. I hope you follow, like, subscribe, all the buttons for the podcast, video podcast on YouTube, audio podcast everywhere else possible. Share this with somebody who you feel is a little bit unsettled, that might be able to take a lesson from appreciation and gratitude so they can pause as well and enjoy the great things in their life.